I like him. He's a good man. He is not a racist, I can tell you that. He's a good person. He actually gets a very unfair press in that regard. But we'll see what happens.
I think we saw what happened. Thank you, my beloved fans. All right, another Friday, another one bites the dust. Trump officials are starting to look like Dodgers fans. Everyone leaving early to beat the traffic. This time, Chief Strategist Steve Bannon, here he is, leaving the building. He's a compelling person. Now, his exit isn't really a surprise for a few reasons. One, Bannon's been the flashpoint in Trump's White House since day one. In his short but wild tenure, he raised more eyebrows than my eyebrow-raising farm. The worst joke in human history, and I wrote it. Most recently, Bannon gave a wild interview to a left-wing magazine, and then he claimed he thought it was off the record. I don't know. That decision smells fishier than the bib collector in a crab shack. That was better. That was better. Marginally better. My gut tells me that whole thing was planned to give Mr. Trump the justification for dropping him. Plus, after this week, they needed to do something. And last but not least, General John Kelly's the chief of staff now, and he had to get things under control. And according to some press reports, Bannon's position was under review by the general, and that's never good. But the upside, the White House lost its chief strategist, but cable news might have gained a new host. I can see it now, the Bannon cannon. Right after Mooch and Company. Mooch and Company. Right after Morning Spicer. Right after Rinse and Repeat. Right after Flynn Lose or Draw. I just created a whole new lineup. What's that network called? I don't know. So, Trump should Trump replace Bannon? And who should he replace him with? Personally, I think he should replace this fiery character with someone more soothing and less incendiary. I'm thinking Ted Nugent. Yes. That'll work, huh? If he disagrees with you, he will hunt you down and kill you. And then he will wear you. Because he wears his own stuff. Anyway, I kid. I really think it's time to get serious. We need this person now more than ever. I think you know who I'm talking about. That is my punishment for you. That will be stuck in your head for the next 2 days. Period. Shall we welcome tonight's guests? I think we should. He's so tough, his tattoos have tattoos. Retired Special Forces Master Sergeant Terry Schappert. She goes by one name because that's all she needs. It's Kennedy. Host of Kennedy on Fox Business. This cat has 9 lives and she hates all of them. Co-host of the Fox News Specialist, Kat Timpf. And the Parthenon is his shoebox, former bodyguard and my massive sidekick, Tyrus. All right. Terry.
Sir.
The conventional wisdom of Steve Bannon, he's the Dark Knight, he's an awful person. I'm skeptical of mob thinking. When everybody thinks the same thing, I think, there's something else going on here. What if he's just a great guy?
By the way, always take a step back when the mob is doing that. So that's what has to happen right now.
Yeah.
I got to say this about Breitbart. You know, what bothers me about the whole Bannon thing is everybody bought into, he's a racist. Really? David Webb, our friend. Sonny Johnson, our friend. There's 2 of my 3 black friends right there.
There you go.
I have one
That's
here. always
a good defense, Terry, when you point out your black friends.
So
when you point out your black friends, everybody goes, oh, yeah.
So what I'm saying is those guys, David Webb and Sonny Johnson, work. Come on, I'm joking.
I know.
You can say stuff, but I can't.
No, it's okay.
So those guys were. Those guys.
2 presidents?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So those guys work for Breitbart. They say he's not a racist. He's an anti-Semite. Joel Pollack writes for him. He's a great reporter. Ben Shapiro used to. They had their falling out. Brandon Darby is one of the best reporters in the country, doing great work. So I think, again, what bothered me about the whole Breitbart idea was that it's a bunch of white supremacists. That's BS. It's BS. Now, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes at the Trump White House. I don't think Trump knows what's going on behind the scenes in the White House. So we'll see how it goes. But you know, Bannon and Kellyanne Conway, you could say they were instrumental in getting that guy elected. So I think it's interesting where he's going to go, what he's going to do. Everyone's talking about war. He could also fight that war against the people that he wanted to fight, maybe outside the White House. I don't know.
Who knows, Kennedy? Was this a good thing? Is this going to... Remember, we thought that General John Kelly coming in would calm everything down, and then that was... Well, the news changed that, I guess. But then... How do you see this affecting the White House?
You know that scene where the girl is passed out in Larry's bed and he's got a devil and an angel on his shoulder? That's how I saw the Trump White House. And when John Kelly came in, I was like, oh, well, there's the angel. And when the president listens to General John Kelly, he would be appealing to the better side of his nature. And I think that's what we saw Monday when he, in the White House, gave the statement on Charlottesville, which was sort of a reboot from what he said sort of clumsily on Saturday, which, you know, was problematic, but not terribly offensive. But he perhaps committed sins of omission in the Saturday statement, righted that on Monday, should have just walked away. But then, you know, I think Bannon, the little devil on his shoulder, was like, no, no, no. There were some fine people at that rally. Don't forget to say that. And it's really hard to find fine people marching arm in arm with neo-Nazis. But that's just me being a bluff old traditionalist. I think that we're seeing a big difference between running a campaign, which is obviously critical in getting someone elected, and I think Kellyanne Conway and Steve Bannon, to their credit, came in and completely turned that campaign around, and they were the driving force that allowed the president to ascend to the White House. They tapped into the discontent in the middle of the country that both parties had completely ignored, and I think they were very smart in doing that. But I also think there's a disconnect between running for office and governing.
That's true. Everybody has a different role, Tyrus.
Yes.
What is your role now?
Well, I have 2 of them, right?
Yes.
Look, I took it, like I said, I didn't say much all week about it because the first, when Trump came out and he said what he said the first thing, I think I didn't have as much problem with it. Maybe he should have listed stuff, but I thought it was just naturally assumed that white supremacists were bad, so I didn't, you know, so I kind of gave him a pass on that. That, like Kennedy's point, his speech at the White House was great. I think we're missing the point is that, unfortunately, and this is Donald Trump's fault, his feud with the media clouds his judgment, and he gets into, and you can see when he gets upset, and he feels he has to fight to prove every point he makes to the point where he ends up talking about one point. He fell for the media. They lay traps. I've been in entertainment, sports for a long time. Media always lay traps. You lose a game, they try to get you to say the wrong thing. Trump made an omission on the first thing, so they had their trap. They laid their trap, and because him, and if you don't hear all the stuff because they were screaming at him. So he started fighting back, and then he started to defend his point. And his point, instead of talking about what he needed to be, the encompassing of how we all should be band together against anybody who preaches hate, he couldn't get there because his hatred and his back and forth and one-upsmanship with the media has hurt this country. So he needs to find a way to bury, he's got to let it go. He can't win that fight. You cannot win that fight with the media because they're always going to be digging for questions. They're not going to let go. And he literally, and this happens, he's won some, he's embarrassed them, he's made them look bad. This time they got him, and they got him good at the expense of the country.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, man.
Kat, what do you think Bannon's going to turn on Trump?
See, I think it's a good thing that Bannon's gone, but I'd be worried about that. Like, this proves, but I worry about everything.
Yeah, you do.
You know,
That's
this
for sure.
proves that President Trump does not have the anxiety issues that I have. Because I'm serious, we all have those friends that we used to be like best friends forever with, and you don't really talk anymore. Sometimes you lay awake at night like, oh my God, they know too much.
Yes.
I mean, I don't like to have a falling out with anybody. There's people who know too much. I got like 2 or 3 people I can't stand at all that just know too much. Always invited to my birthday party. They can always come on through just because I don't want them talking. So, you know, or writing an article about me in Breitbart or whatever.
That is true. That is true. I have a few friends like that I go, oh my God, if they ever get interviewed.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah, you got to be. I like their. I like their tweets.
Like
I like their tweets and their Facebook statuses. So it's like, see, we're still friends, right? Don't tell them this stuff.
I got to say, I agree. I have to, and we got to wrap it up. But I think, yeah, Trump could have done a better job, but I think the media knows how to bait him, and he lost his cool.
Yeah.
And when he loses his cool,
he becomes a 70-year-old grandpa who's yelling at his kids for playing on the lawn and forgets what it's really all about.
And it's frustrating because at this point now, the dude's got to know better. Like, here's the other thing. It's never been about Trump. It's not about Trump. It's about kind of the agenda that he ran on, and that's still there.
You know what the thing, and also, expecting a moral pronouncement from Donald Trump is like demanding the Gettysburg Address from a jar of mustard. This is not why he was elected. Right. President Obama was elected because, you know, people saw him as an inspirational figure. Trump is a businessman. I didn't come to him for moral support. Right. And so when he's up there, I don't think he knows how to do that. When they said, can you heal a nation? He's like, no, I can't heal a nation. What are you asking for?
But I can tell you about how good my poll numbers were.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, I was looking back this week at some of the statements presidents had made in the face of tragedy, and you think about those defining moments. And could you imagine Ronald Reagan just losing his mind when the space shuttle exploded?
Yeah.
And if he went after, like, #fake news and...
Yeah. The only thing is, though, I mean, you know, this contentious relationship is so beyond repair that there's nothing. I think that what he did was perhaps a mistake, but it became a nuclear explosion, and I think that's the way it's going to be. The media has grabbed onto that string from a sweater, and it's just going to keep pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling until there's no sweater left. And I don't want to see a shirtless Donald Trump.